go into science, technology, and math and just pursue that career. And now I'm here today, thanks to Sally Ride. When I'm not at the office, you can pretty much find me in the Sierra 24/7, whether it be winter, fall, spring, summer. I love being in the mountains and I love being off the grid exploring. It's just a place of, for me, zen, relaxation, a chance to explore and just wander. My husband proposed to me back in the Sierra, and our wedding was actually at a lake in the Sierra where we had friends backpack into to join us. I really enjoy getting to do STEM outreach working at NASA. I think it's great to be able to go to different events, basically just inspire them to keep going, to ask questions, to keep pursuing things that they might not normally think they have a chance to do. As a girl growing up in Michigan, I never thought I would have the chance to really see something like X-59 fly. It'll just be really neat to see all of it come together and all that hard work of the team members just really pay off.
It's a privilege. Please call me Tom.
Tom, Victor.
I call you Victor.
And the privilege is mine. It's so amazing to meet you, even virtually.
It's great to meet you. Congratulations on your extraordinary career thus far. It's really what you've accomplished. I have great admiration for.
Well, thank you. And, you know, the movie Top Gun obviously had a huge impact on me. And as much as I want to throw Top Gun quotes at you, I won't. I'm sure you get a lot of that. So thank you, because you had a part in that.
Boy, that's an honor for me. And I can't wait for you to see the next one, Top Gun Maverick. I can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait either.
It's an honor.
I'm ready.
Oh, man. I'm ready to show it to you. I can't wait, man.
Awesome.
So listen, I have a few
excited.
questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Let's do it, Tom.
Because obviously you've flown, I guess, 40 aircraft over as a test pilot, many different aircrafts. The F-18 is a naval aviator test pilot. Now, flying the Dragon, SpaceX Dragon, how does that compare to that? And what do you think for yourself, what was the most exhilarating aspect?
อะไรมันดูแบบว่ายังเบลอๆอยู่เลยและพ่อกับแม่เองก็ยังคงให้การวกวนอยู่แต่ว่ามีพลเมืองดีมาแจ้งข่าวนะคะบอกว่าเจอผู้ชายคนนึงอุ้มเด็กคล้ายน้องต่อขี่มอเตอร์ไซค์มุ่งหน้าไปยังนครปฐมนะคะเนี่ยคือจริงๆแล้วคดีนี้นักข่าวของเราทีมข่าวช่อง8น้องเพลงณชาหนองพงก็ติดมานะคะหลายวันละรวมเวลาเนี่ย12วันแล้วนะคะเพื่อตามหาน้องต่อค่ะหายตัวไปอย่างปริศนาเหลือเกินไม่พบวี่แววเลยคือเมื่อเช้า
The Falcon 9 rocket. It is such a high performing liquid rocket. It's smooth, but it really leapt off the pad, and we got to the 100-kilometer point and we were all smiles. It was just so amazing. You can really feel the accelerations and decelerations. And then once we got onto the upper stage, the second stage, and you just start building speed, I've pulled G's before in fighter aircraft, but to be able to pull G's for almost 10 minutes straight was just power like I've never experienced, not even launching or landing on a carrier.
Really? I've been fortunate. I've got some launches and I landed on carriers on the Roosevelt, and that kind of G's, that kind of force coming off there is pretty incredible. What was it like with the Dragon? What did it feel like with the Falcon 9? I mean, how many G's were you pulling? And I know you're laying down.
Yes.
What was that like?
And so it is different. In the fighter, the G's go from your head to your toe, and that's why we practice these specific maneuvers to keep blood flow to your brain so you stay conscious and you don't gray out or black out. The G on a rocket launch goes into your chest, and so you naturally can sustain more G's in that direction, and the G is actually lower. So the maximum G we saw was about 4.5. But what's different in a fighter, you'll experience, I pulled 9 G's in a fighter aircraft, but that was only for seconds. And, you know, I've sustained 3 to 4 G's for maybe a minute or a minute and a half in a dogfight, in a turning fight. But on the Falcon, except for staging and throttle down, you are accelerating the entire way for about 9 minutes. It was about 8 minutes and 50 or so seconds. I mean, and you're accelerating the entire way because you wind up 200 kilometers above the earth going 17,000 miles per hour. It's an amazing amount of power. And so we actually were above 3.5 Gs for about 3 minutes. That's amazing.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. I know I've been fortunate, different aircraft that I've flown is those Gs, and feeling them momentarily 9.5 is what I pulled it actually in the F-14, the first Top Gun, from when we got 9.5, and we, on the new one, we were pulling a lot of different Gs, but to sustain that, I was wondering, because I always wanted to know what that rocket and feeling that acceleration where you could actually feel that acceleration the whole time. Do you felt that the whole time, acceleration on the body?
The whole time. Yes, coming off the pad initially, it feels like a very high speed elevator. The first move off the pad, you're not going very fast, and you're actually not accelerating very fast, but it just continues to pick up. I mean, the entire time you're moving. And at about 1 minute into the flight, you're in the region of maximum dynamic pressure, what you hear people say, max Q. And that's where you're in the thickest part of the air down low, but you're also going really fast. And that could actually crumple the rocket and the spacecraft. So they actually slow down. They throttle the rocket down. And you feel that. You feel yourself. It's like tapping the brakes. And then really what stands out is the throttle up. Then they go back to full power. And when they do that, it felt like lighting the afterburner in an F-18. I wish I would have been able to feel what it was like in an F-14 because I hear it is quite impressive. But I never got to fly that aircraft. But you definitely feel it the entire way up. And then the first stage shuts down after about 2.5 minutes. And then we ride the second stage all the way into orbit. And that one starts just at about 1 G. And so, again, it's a very light push, but then you push for another 6 minutes. And about half of that time, you're above 3 Gs. And so your chest is very heavy and you have to focus on breathing, inhale, and then the exhale kind of works itself out, because of the pressure. It is quite amazing. It was a truly incredible experience.
I did not know you had to work on that inhale. That's incredible. That is extraordinary. Yeah. Now, being a NASA astronaut, I mean, you require, constantly pushing the boundaries. And what is the most physically demanding task, both kind of before and after, like during the space flight?
Yeah. Yeah, great question. And I think it's interesting to think about this. It depends on the time horizon you're looking at. So in the moment, the short-term, short-duration, most challenging part of what we do, I think, is training for and executing spacewalks. It's 6 to 7 hours of working and doing these very important things on the outside of the space station in the extreme environment of the vacuum of space, high temperatures, low temperatures, no air. And so that life support is critical, but it's also very physically demanding. You're moving around a suit that can weigh with your body in as much as 1,000 pounds, and you very rarely use your legs. It's like running 2 marathons, but on your hands the whole time. Your hands and fingers are very sore when you're done with this. And so that's the most physically challenging thing. And training for it on the ground, you're still in an extreme environment. In the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, our 2 million gallon, 40-foot deep pool where we train for spacewalks. And so it's still also physically demanding, even underwater. But when I think about the duration of a career and maybe something that has a huge impact on your lifespan, I think all the traveling and training and the stresses of this job, if you don't have healthy ways to manage that stress, it can actually affect your sleep. And then we also have to become comfortable sleeping in space, which is an extreme environment. We do lots of outdoor training, and you have to be able to sleep outdoors as well. So I think just looking at the way that these things, all of these stresses manifest in your life, you also have to have healthy coping strategies for the travel, all the different time zones we go in, and all the different stressors that come with the work. And then obviously then getting to space and being able to fall asleep and get the important rest that you need to accomplish your workday. That's one I think is a very physically demanding aspect of training and living in space.
Okay, Victor, there's two things. One, I from what I understand, and I've been fortunate enough to actually be fitted for a suit years ago, and just feeling the weight on Earth versus, I guess, in 0G. But what people I don't think understand also is what I understand, this, is how hard it is opening and closing your hand, let alone like talk about moving the arms and moving the hands, the stiffness of the suit because of the pressure differential, just moving your hands, the dexterity of that. Could you, and then the next thing I want to ask you about is sleep, but could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
So yes, in that spacesuit, right, you're in the vacuum of space. The pressure there is zero, absolute zero. So you need something to keep your fluids in your blood and to help you stay conscious and comfortable. It keeps your temperature in a comfortable range as well. And so the suit is pressurized to 4.2 pressure pounds per square inch, 4.2 psi. And so the entire suit is at 4.2 psi, and it wants to sit about like this. And so anytime you move, you're moving against 4 pounds per square inch. And so we have certain bearings. If you rotate your arm like this, you're rotating a bearing. So that's roughly, you have to overcome a little friction. But if you move like this, you're pushing against the suit, the stiff fabric, the many layers that can maintain that pressure in the vacuum of space. And so when you close your hand, a great example, sometimes you'll hear people say it's like squeezing a tennis ball. But squeezing a tennis ball, if you squeeze it, it's work to squeeze it, but then to let it go, opening it, it pushes against you and helps you out. What I like to say is moving around in the suit is like putting your hand in rice. If you open your hand very wide, you're pushing against that rice. If you close your hand, you're closing it against that rice. And there are some athletes that use buckets of rice to train their grip strength. And I think that's a little bit more of an accurate comparison.
Did you do things like that to increase your grip strength? Because even dropping your arms, you talk about pushing it up, but dropping your arms and moving in that way. I mean, did you do anything physically to increase your strength with that?
Absolutely. We have a great team of, we call them astronaut strength conditioning and rehabilitation specialists, ACERS for short. And our ACERS craft very specific workouts to help us. Like I said, training for spacewalks is also physically rigorous. And so they actually develop those workouts to help us be safe in the neutral buoyancy lab where we train, and obviously to also help benefit while we're in space. And we do very specific exercises for our grip as well as for our shoulders. Those are two of the areas that you really tax when you're doing spacewalk training or an actual walk in space. And the other thing is they give us suggestions on how to work out. For example, when I do my shoulder exercises, I originally started using dumbbells, and I would hold the handle and do my shoulder exercising, rotating and doing things to exercise my rotator cuff and all those small muscles around your shoulders. What I started doing, because of the suggestion of my strength trainer specialist, was to use plates, the same